Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Selenium interview questions. That is, when does stale element reference exception occur in Selenium automation? Let me explain this for you in this session. So, just observe this, guys. This is not a normal exception that we generally come across. Okay, this comes because of some circumstances. So, what generally happens is, let's say you are on page one. Okay, when you are writing the automation script, you are on the page one, and from the page one, due to some XYZ reasons, you went to another page like page two. Okay, you navigated from page one to page two. Before you navigated from page one to page two, you created some web elements. Okay, like this web element is equal to some driver dot find element, driver dot find element by dot id. So I'm just giving some random XYZ ID, okay, by dot ID, like this, okay. So there is one web element, let's assume, on the page one. So when you are on the page one, you have created this web element, and let's say this web element is a text box field. So you have simply say element dot send keys, okay, element dot send keys. Let's say my name you are typing there, okay, my name you are typing there. This was happened there, okay, this happened, that's okay, this was working fine. Okay, when you are writing the automation script on this page one, when you are on the page one during your automation script, and you were able to find the element, and you store the element into this web elements, and then using that element you perform this send keys typing operation, where you typed some Arun text into the text box field or something which is having this ID. Everything was working fine, but later what you have done is you have written another line of code which has clicked on a link, okay, automation script which has clicked on a link which has taken you to another web page. Okay, it has taken you to another web page. So once you went to another web page, after the work is done here, you came back, you simply came back. Now what you are trying to do, you came back to the page one again. Okay, from page two you navigated away from page one to page two, and from page two again you navigated back to the page one. When you are on the page one, you try to perform something again, element dot send keys. Okay, in the same text box field, again you are performing some operation, like you are entering my last name here, let's say Motori here. Okay, so during this process, what happens is this line will give you a runtime error. Okay, this particular line earlier, element dot send keys was working fine before you navigated away, right, from this page one to page two. But once you navigated away and came back, this, okay, once you came back, so what happened is this element dot send keys is giving you a runtime error known as stale element reference exception. This exception you are getting, which is nothing but a runtime exception, which generally occurs during the runtime. Okay, why this is happening? Why this stale element reference exception come? Okay, the question is the same, right? When does this exception occur during Selenium automation? The answer for this question is when you navigate away from the page to a different page and come back to this page. By that time, okay, when you navigate away and come back, so the original connection between this driver.find element part and this web element part will be lost. This connection will be lost, is equal to will be lost. Okay, so this connection between driver.find element and web element will be lost. Now element will have the null kind of thing, and when you try to perform the operation, you will get stale element reference exception. This connection between driver.find element, which is assigned to this element of this web element interface, is lost. So what we have to do again? So if there is a situation, how to resolve this problem? You understood when does you get stale element reference exception in this example, but how to resolve this problem? Even after you navigate away and come back, still if you want this send keys to work, what you have to do is again you have to reinitialize. That means already you created the web element, right? You have to simply say element is equal to, again you have to write driver dot find element. Okay, driver dot find element, you have to write all this code. So here you will be writing driver dot find element, and then say by dot same id xyz only, right? That xyz you will give here. Okay, xyz. So you have to reinitialize. Okay, you have to reinitialize this driver.find element for this element again. Okay, though you have declared it and initialized it already, but since you have navigated to another page and came back, this connection between this element and this particular thing will be lost, and because of which you will get stale element reference exception if you don't reinitialize this thing. If you don't write this line before performing this element.send case, you will get stale element reference exception. So theoretically, I'm explaining this, okay, in this question. So in the next session, we have another interview question on the same stale element reference exception. Okay, on the same stale element reference. This is a class, guys, so it will be in capital letter, stale element reference exception. So next session, where I'm going to answer another question for you on stale element reference exception, I'm going to demonstrate this practically. Whatever I covered in a theoretical way, I'll cover it again and then explain you in a practical way in the next video. Okay. So for this video, only theoretical explanation I want to give, because the question is all about when does stale element reference exception occur. It occurs when you navigate away from the page and come back to the same original page. And if you don't reinitialize the element that was there created before you navigated away from the page, and if you are trying to perform the operation on the element, then you will get stale element reference exception. So hope you got the answer for this question. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye.